So I started thinking back years ago in Cape Cod. I taught a Sunday school class with some kids between the ages of around 5 to 8. And when Mother's Day was coming up, we made these coupon books. So they were going to write out coupons for things they could do for their mums. And it was cute. One of the kids got going, I'm going to give my mom a trip to Hawaii. And the kids said, oh, that's cool. And they all start jumping on, like, I'm going to get my mom a Rolls Royce. And then they're like, a diamond ring. I'm going to go to Disney. And so it was really cute, all the things they wanted for their mom. And I was like, well, those are really nice sentiments, but you really can't do any of those. Why don't you write something you can do for your mom? Like maybe first time obedience. When she asks you to do something, you do it with a good attitude and you don't complain. Maybe you could do an extra chore, something you don't typically do. Maybe you could do the ones you do without complaining. Maybe you could rub her back. And the excitement went down because it was like, when I say I want to send her to Hawaii, she thinks I'm cute, but I don't actually have to do anything. And I just got thinking about that. Sometimes when it costs us to do something, or it's easy to think of the things that are out there and beyond us, and then to excuse ourselves from doing them because, well, that's beyond me. But what are the simple things that we can do? And so I think in Matthew 25, there's the parable of the talents where there's one person given 5 talents, one given 2, and one given 1. And the ones with the 5 and the 2 go out and invest them and double them, and they get blessed. And the one with 1 buries it and gets in trouble for doing it. And I always thought that was so unfair because clearly the one with 5 and 2 had an advantage and were privileged and seemed to be a little bit favored. You feel like the one with 1 who it's like, I don't have as much, I can't do all of this. Yet in the end, he had 1. He didn't have nothing. He had something. And all of us are given something from the Lord for what we can do. Find what is it that I can do that maybe is easy. I don't have to run the country. I don't have to run the state. But I do have a family. I do have a neighbor. I have a job. How can I do that in a way that is my talent and that's invested and it's not buried and just forgotten? I can think of 2 stories that stuck with me. There was one boy in Canada, and he was going to school, and he was having trouble at school. Things weren't working out very well for him. And so his parents moved, and he was going to start going to another school. And he had a little bit of bullying, just things weren't connecting for him. And so he decided, what am I going to do at my new school? How can I maybe contribute to something being different? But it's hard, right? A high school's a big place. There's lots of people. Social dynamics are hard and difficult. And so he decided that on the first day of school, he was going to hold the door for other students. So he arrived and he held the door. And students walked through, and 500 students later, he's still holding the door. And he came back the next day and he held the door. And all the kids came through. About a week into it, kids started to notice, and they were talking to each other in the hall, and they go, it's the kid who's holding the door in the morning? And yeah, it's like kind of nice. And then he keeps doing it, and other kids start saying, someone dropped their books in front of me today. Usually I would have walked on by, but I thought of the kid who held the door, and I helped them pick up their books. And they started talking about this. And the reason I know the story, I was at my parents' visiting in Canada, and it was in the news. This kid made the news, and they were talking about it, and all he did was hold the door. And anyone can do that. I was amazed that he turned things around for himself and for other people with the simple act of holding a door. And I was traveling 2 weeks ago. I was in the airport in Albany, and this gentleman came in with this gorgeous dog. It was a white golden retriever. And I was like, that's the most beautiful dog I've ever seen. And I thought he was a passenger, and I was like, oh, does he have to buy a seat for that dog? It's pretty big, right? But then he came by, and he had tags on. I realized he wasn't flying. He was just walking around with the dog, and it was a therapy dog. And he was taking it to the gates and walking around, letting people pet the dog. And I've never seen such calm. No one was irritated. No one was agitated. Other passengers start talking to each other in a friendly way rather than being selfish or rude or wondering if that person's going to get in front of you in line or something. And they're all talking about the dog. And I was like, this guy volunteers his time, brings this beautiful dog. It is trained. It's a therapy dog, and just takes his time. And he totally changed the atmosphere in an airport where you could have tense situations. So just thinking of a couple like very simple things, and just want to say for us, we all have a talent. No one has nothing. And to say, what is it that we can do? And for us, we do it as Christians. It can be a point of contact for the Great Commission, for connecting with someone, for being able to talk to them. And just in Colossians chapter 3, verses 23 to 24, it says, whatever your hand finds to do, do it with all your might, as for the Lord, not for men. And then you do it. You don't know what's going to happen. And then what it says after that, it's the Lord that brings the reward. Don't worry if it gets multiplied like the person with 5 or the person with 2. But your job is not to bury it, but to do something with it.
If you like what you're hearing today, please subscribe below and don't forget to share it on as many platforms as you can and tell your friends to watch. Thank you.